Do you want to turn this?
Oh girl, you keep on stalling me. No reason for you to be calling me. You always turn up uninvited. And it's so hard for me to fight it. Why can I get it through your mind?
Into this? Then let's get straight into it. Yo. Today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to uniquely manipulate vocals. Alright, so this is the vocal we have here.
Oh girl, you keep on stalling me. No reason for you to be calling me. You always turn up uninvited. And it's so hard for me to fight it. Why can I get it through your mind? I don't want your love no more, but I hate that I am not sure.
Shout out Vocal for making a banger of a vocal. And so first things first, what I did was pitch it up. Right, that's how it sounds. And then I went ahead and I put up the range to 12 because a full octave is 12 semitones, right? I put the range up to 12 and I pitched it up once more. And with this, I also changed the mode to resample. And now it sounds like this. Now, the reason why I pitched it up one more is to bring it up another octave because there's not 24 octaves here. I had to go up here, mess with the range, and then pitch it up a whole nother octave. And the reason why I pushed the mode to stretch is because it keeps it at the same time. And I didn't want it to be at the same time, I wanted it to be faster. Now, when it becomes faster, it stays on time as well because it was still on time when I pitched it up, when I messed with the resampling. So now what you do next is you chop it up, and I chopped it up and I reversed some parts. And then I ended up with this. Now, let's go ahead to the effects. I also pitched it up once more. So I went to pitch wheel, and then that's when I pitched it up a whole nother octave. Now it sounds like this. Let me turn these off. It sounds like this. And then I went ahead and I EQ'd it because it was scraping your ears, right? So I EQ'd out the highs. And then I EQ'd out the lows. Now I put another EQ on here to make it a little bit more muffled. Now here comes the juicy part and added some reverb. Now this is on 100% mix, but I tweaked it inside of the mixer track right here so that it was not using the full 100%. Right, because the 100% still have some type of effect to it, but it's not using all of the mix that it has on the reverb. Now it sounds like this. And when it comes to manipulating vocals, all you got to do is be creative. So then I started testing things out and I added the delay. And then that's when y'all can hear the ripple effect that it's having. And I also started testing things out and I added a little altar boy. But y'all hear what happened. It don't sound good. The artifacts are too strong. So with this altar boy, I just turned it off and I didn't use it. Now this is the preset for the delay. I can copy it if I want. And I always use ping pong so that I can bounce between your ears. Now I have a pan in on here. Just going from left to right, and I have the smoothing all the way on soft. I have it left to right, and y'all can switch that button here, whether I want to just go right, left, or just left to right. I also have a fruity filter on here to cut off some of the high frequencies, as well as the resonance, and I put a high pass on it. Now what the high pass does, it cuts out the lows a little bit, right? So let me show y'all an example of a high pass. Y'all can make a high pass if y'all don't want to use fruity control. I mean, if y'all don't want to use fruity filter, I can make a high pass just by going to type and then typing high pass, right? So this is what a high pass is. It lets the high pass, right? It's in the name. And a low pass does the opposite by letting the lows pass, right? By cutting out the highs and letting the lows pass. Which one was it? This one? Okay, bad. So now it comes together and it all sounds like this. And with that, the first vocal is complete. Now, before we go on to the second vocal, let's go on over the instruments. First things first, what I have is a piano, a soft piano. It sounds like this. Now, the scale that I am in is C minor. And building these chords is very simple, y'all. All you gotta do is build a simple major and minor key. And how you do that? No. And how you do that is by doing this. You place one note down, and this is a minor chord, right? And with this, it sounds like this. Let me make it a bit longer. And then I went ahead and I inverted this note up. And then I wanted it to make it a little bit more complicated, and I just put this note here. Then I did the same thing for this one. And I just inverted this one up. But I didn't like that, right? So then that's when I did this. And then I also added one more in between. Now I went ahead and I completed the whole thing. And that's how y'all do it. That's how y'all do it. It's not complicated at all. Trust me. It's not complicated at all. And then that's why you just build off notes based off what you hear. Then I went ahead and copied this over. And I wanted it to descend. So I put this down. And then I put this down. And then I deleted this one so that it can sound minimal. Then I just did this. Right? I did this. Put this down. And I like the way it will sound. And I wanted it to come back down to this. And then I pressed Control B and duplicated it. Now I changed this side up a little bit because I didn't want it to sound the same or repetitive. Now I have nothing on the piano. I didn't add no reverb, no nothing. So let's move on to the next instrument, which is this pad. Now this pad is from the 90s R&B's Essential Bank. And I only have a Valhalla Vintage Bourbon on here. And the mix is at 30%. That's all I touched. Next is this bass. And all it's doing is following the root notes from the piano. And I have a EQ on here because as y'all hear, it still has it. There's this click I have on there. And without the EQ, it sounds like this. It sounds very more apparent, and I hate that. I hate when basses have clicks, but I like the bass for this sample, so I just continue to use it. And then that's when I went and became a splice demon, right? And I found these leads. I found this. And the effects I have on these, for this one, I have a free delay 2, a free chorus, a Valhalla vintage verb, a fruity compressor, and a parametric EQ. Now going on to the second one, what I have on this one is the same thing. Now I went ahead and found this PERC loop from my boy's Reggie's kit. Shout out Reggie. And I found this PERC loop in earlier. Yeah, this one. And I just manipulated it. This is how it sounds originally. That's how it sounds originally, and this is how the manipulation I made sound. And with that, the stuff I added to was a footer delay too. That's why you're hearing it go so crazy. And I have it on ping pong mode as well as a time on one. And next is a fruity flangus, well, fruity flanger. I don't really touch this. This is the default preset, as well as a fruity parametric EQ. That's all I added to it. I did play around with other things as well, but I didn't leave them on as it sounded too crazy. Next is some more splice things. And with this one, it sounded like this originally. This is how it sounded originally. And what I did to it was I added this reverb, the lexicon reverb, and I'm using the ballad vocals preset. And I also reversed it so it sounds like this. Reversing things is a way to make unique aspect of your melody as well. Just reversing things, I can get a totally different sound from what I first heard. Next is this phrase I found from Savant's kit. Now I didn't add anything on here as it already has reverb and delay and stuff, so I just left it as it is and I lowered the volume. And next is another vocal, but for this vocal, I wanted it to be like a leading vocal, and I didn't do much to it, so it sounds like this. You know I can treat you better than the way you do. Don't want to deny everything that I did for you. But after I decided you were someone I never knew. Now what I added to was a fruity delay too, a fruity chorus, a Valhalla vintage verb, a little altar boy. And what the little altar boy do is that it formats it, right? And what formatting does, I'm gonna let y'all hear it. You know I can treat you better than the way you do. And this is with it on. You know I can treat you better than the way you do. So what formatting does is that it pitches it without changing the key, right? So you can pitch it up or pitch it down without changing the key and it'll still be on key. That's why when I tried it for this one, because it was so high, it had so much artifacts because it was being manipulated too much to the point where it could contain it or handle it, right? But this one is low enough to be able to be manipulated. Next, I added a fruity love filter, and with this, it's basically an EQ, but it's a filter that's like the fruity filter, right? So I use the low pass and then the low pass 2 preset, and then that's when I played around with this until I heard something I like. Now with this, you got to be careful because it can cut out some good frequencies because you can't see it. There's no dynamic range or no parametricness to it, right? So you can cut out some of the good frequencies. So you just got to play it by ear and tweak until you find out what you like personally. Next is a E piano, and this is from Sky Keys. Oh, I'm sorry, not E piano. It's a synth. And this is the analog brass. And what I have on here is a Valhalla vintage verb, a tape mellow, and a chorus June 6th. Now, if you see effects that are dead or not on, It's because I mess around with things and I find out whether it's too crazy or I don't like it anymore, right? So you just got to experiment, and that's one thing you can do to get better at making vocals, better at making new effects, better at making your sounds better, just by experimenting with different sounds you probably never used before or don't use as much. And next are this. This is kind of like this bell, kind of like this piano type sound called About Time from Sky Keys. And for this melody, I ended up pitching it down by like 3 semitones. Yeah, for 3 semitones. And that's practically all I did. And thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys learned something. I love and I appreciate y'all. And I'll see you guys Saturday as always. Deuces.